Hey y'all, hey y'all. This is Arrettres Hollins. I am the founder of Connecting Love and Marriage. I help wives navigate through tough seasons in their marriage and reconnect with their husband. I help wives communicate more effectively and have those tough conversations in a way to where the husbands actually receive it and help them come up with solutions. All right. So feel free to share and let others know what we're talking about. But this is part 3 of my 3-part series regarding conflict resolution, where the title is The Venus Flytrap. Okay, you'll never be accused of nagging again when you do this. Sometimes in marriage, when we're trying to get our husband to say things or really do things that he might not really want to do, taking out the garbage, charging his cell phone at night, just different things we might need them to do. Go get the oil change or putting gas in the car. Sometimes it's hard to get them to do things that we really want them to do. And if we're not careful, they'll say things like we're nagging. They'll say things like, we just keep saying the same thing over and over again. Now, of course, we say, well, if you would just do what I ask you to do, I don't have to say it anymore. But unfortunately, men are men, and we love them. We love our hubbies, and we're different in so many ways. So I'm going to teach you the 3rd strategy, which is part of this 3-part series. If you missed any of the other strategies, you can click the link in my bio, or if you're on Facebook, you can click the link in the description. And when you subscribe, I will go ahead and email it to you. Okay, and it's totally free. Just want to share. Okay, so Venus flytrap. Now, why is this a challenge? Because in relationships, sometimes husbands don't necessarily, first of all, we talk differently. Okay, we speak differently. I can say one thing to him and he translates it into something completely different. This is normal. I don't know how God made this the way that it is, but sometimes when we're saying things to them, they're not receiving it and hearing it the way we want them to hear it. So you've got to be mindful and make sure that you're using effective strategies that'll keep them listening to you. And also, there's ways to get them to desire to do things for you. Okay, but the strategy I'm going to talk about today is how to prevent your husband from calling you a nag or shutting down or becoming defensive. Okay, those are normally the 3 things a husband will do when you're talking to him about something that he might not necessarily want to be bothered with. So he may either shut down, call you a nag, or become defensive. Okay, so this strategy will prevent all 3 of those from happening. Okay, so once again, go ahead and share if you know someone else that might want to or might need this information. Actually, any woman that's married probably needs this information. But the 3rd strategy that I'm going to give you is called to build your circle. Okay, I've always encouraged wives to have a circle, or couples should always have a support system of 2 to 3 other couples that are married, that are serious about this thing, that are serious about being committed to their marriage and their spouse. It's important that you have this circle, especially with your husband. And the reason why this is helpful is, well, first let me take a step back. With this circle, they're honest. So they're not the ones that walk around saying, oh, marriage is wonderful all the time and it's always beautiful and everything's always magical and this pixie dust and fairy tales and unicorns every day. No, I'm talking about real people who have real situations that happen in marriage. Of course, marriage is beautiful. It's amazing. I would not change my hubby for nothing in the world. But life happens. Okay, so the same way life happens, things come up in your marriage where difficulties will arise, where situations come up where sometimes you won't want to deal with and sometimes he won't want to deal with it, but it still needs to be dealt with. Okay, because like I'm always telling, there might be a little fire someplace, but if you leave that little fire alone, it's going to turn into a big fire. Okay, so we have to learn how to deal with those small fires so that they don't turn into big fires. Okay, now when you build your circle, you have these people who love you and are for your marriage, and they're not the type that's going to tell all your business. You trust them. They're mature. They're actually committed to their marriage. And a good way of knowing if this couple should be in your circle is based on how well the wife responds to her husband. Okay. The signs of a good marriage is where a husband responds to the wife and the wife responds well to the husband. So you don't want the couple who always going at it and popping off, and every time you see them, they mad about it and they fight. No, you want a couple who acknowledges that their struggles, but they love their boo and they are committed to making things work. Okay, so that's what your circle should have around you. So if a couple been married, you need at least one couple that's been married longer than you. Okay, one couple that's been in the trenches. I say 15 or more years. Okay, they've been in this, they've had children, so they know what they've been down the road already. Okay, you want someone who can guide you to where you're trying to get. Okay, so the reason why you want this couple is two things. You know how it is when we're hanging out and we're having a good time, and maybe the ladies are in the kitchen or the ladies are doing something. Maybe they're in the backyard, with their feet up, lounging. The men are watching the game and they hanging. It builds a sense of community. It builds a sense of relationship. Okay, so when you're talking to one of your girlfriends, maybe one of the mentor couple, because remember, you have to have an older couple. So you go to your mentor couple, the wife, and say, you know what? I'm really trying to get John to do A, B, and C. Okay, I'm struggling. I'm concerned about his health. I really want him to start working out. He's not taking his medication. I want to live a long life with him. And I'm struggling. Can you help me with this? I don't know what to do. Now, what normally happens is, one, she's going to give you some wisdom. She's going to give you advice that you can actually use. She's going to give you a strategy that she's used or something that she thinks you can do to help your husband in doing what it is that you need him to do. Now, there's another thing that's going to happen. What do most wives do when something happens or when something comes up in their life? Most wives will eventually tell their husband. Okay, you know how it is. We're having pillow talk, or we're just sitting down talking, or riding home from the event and say, honey, Arrettres was mentioning that she's worried about John's health and he's not taking his meds. Now, this is just all a fake, okay? I don't want y'all calling my husband talking about he ain't taking his meds. But so she's going to tell her husband that. A real good friend is then going to, remember, this has to be the mature couple, because he's not going to go to your husband and say, your wife said that you're not taking your meds, blah, 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 blah. He has wisdom. So he is a mature man, and he knows I'm not just going to hit him in the head with this. He's going to be subtle about it and say, hey, John, what's going on? How's everything going with you, man? And he might start with a scenario like, oh, I remember when I was having problems with my health and ABC was going on and I had to take my meds. Basically, he's going to use wisdom to now talk to your husband about what's concerning you. He's not going to do it because you told him to do it. He's going to do it because he loves your husband and the relationship that you and your husband have. He wants you two to be fine. He wants you two to work it out. Okay, so that mentor couple is now going to go talk to your husband on your behalf. This is not about you going to tell on your husband and you trying to get somebody to do something for him or to change him in any way. But you need someone who has wisdom, who can get the ear of your husband and he listen. Okay, now why is this effective? This takes the stress off of you in trying to get your husband to take care of his health. Now that the mentor couple, will call him Thomas. Now, Thomas is aware that John isn't taking care of himself. John's health has already been affected. Let me contact John and check on him. Maybe he'll text him every couple of days. Hey, John, did you take care? Did you work out today? Have you taken your meds? What's going on? Have you been to the doctor? Now you can just be your husband's cheerleader and loving on him, while Tom is being a good friend and encouraging your husband to do what he needs to do. Okay, so that's why this is important. No, you're not being in a nag anymore. No, your husband's not being defensive with you anymore. No, your husband's not shutting down with you anymore regarding this topic. You are supporting and encouraging him. Of course, you're cooking the meals. You're doing the things to help him to complete whatever it is you're trying to get him to do. But now we have Tom over here who's mentoring and guiding and getting him to do the things that he needs to do. Okay, so that's what a good circle is. And it works both ways. If I call one of my, go to my mentor And my men, because I have about three, there's three wives that I go to whenever stuff's going on in my marriage and I need guidance and stuff like that. When I go to them, they stop me and say, well, Arrettres, look, don't do this. You know, you need to not do that anymore. Okay, Arrettres, you probably should have said this a little different. Or why don't you be a little bit more loving and affectionate in this area over here? Okay, so that's why you need to have a strong circle around you, because the more people you have who are positively impacting your marriage, the more people you have speaking into your husband's ears who are giving him godly counsel, who are wise, and helping you get what it is that you need, the better off that you are. Okay, so this is a simple, and it's so easy. There isn't even any work that you really need to do. Just have a good circle. Now, let's say you don't have a good circle. One, pray for God to send you other couples that you can hang out with, spend time with. And this doesn't have to be where you're constantly hanging out. Maybe once a month y'all get together and y'all have potluck. You know, maybe I have a game night. You know, maybe y'all go and go bowling or have date nights together. Okay, this is a really simple strategy. If you don't already have a circle, pray that God sends you a circle. Ask him to make you more aware of the people around you. Look for these people. Let's say there's a couple in church that you kind of admire. You like the way they handle themselves. You know, they don't irritate you. Okay, you know, people you wouldn't mind hanging out and just say, hey, you want to come over for dinner? You know, start to cultivate those relationships to where you have the right people around you. Okay. Once again, if you missed the first two parts of this series, the first part we talked about having regular check-ins with your boo. Having regular check-ins with your boo, which is pillow talk. You really, really, really want to know about pillow talk. If you don't know about pillow talk, you probably want to click the link in my bio or click the link in the description so you can get that. And part one was when we talked about building the having that communication and not how to speak so that you don't pop off. Okay. Which is something that sometimes we do. We get a little tense, we get a little frustrated, we start popping off, we get to snatching that air, and we get to rolling that neck and telling what you're not going to do. So those are the three things that we talked about. One, how not to pop off when you're having that tough conversation. Two, how to have pillow talk and have regular check-ins. And then three, how to build your circle around you. And all three of these will help you in having those tough conversations with your boo and resolving conflict. Okay, so click the link in my bio. Don't forget, you can still share this or click the link so you can get the other three parts of this video. All right, once again, this is Arrettres Hollins, the founder of Connecting Love and Marriage. I hope you have an amazing day. Feel free to DM me if you have any questions. Okay, feel free to DM me or email me, ConnectingLoveAndMarriage@gmail.com. All right, have an amazing day. Love y'all. Bye.